All right, let's bring Frank Caliendo in. Wow, this is the skinniest I've ever seen Frank Caliendo.
It's like a stick figure.
Yes, he is.
Well, Dieter, you walked past me like 3 times.
I know, but I'll look at you.
I know, you're too busy looking at yourself.
I embarrassed myself, I think. I walked out and went, whoa! Like, I was so blown away.
And look at these calf muscles that this guy has.
I've always had those.
I mean, look at this. This guy.
One of them's bigger than the other because this knee is destroyed. But
what the hell are you doing? Just eating
less. I love
less.
that you go to the on the rover cam.
Yeah, we have to look at his calves. And
they're monstrosities.
Yeah, I mean, this guy is. This is the best shape you've ever been that I've ever seen.
Yeah, I started running and stuff like that, so it helped. It helps me on TV too because there's
that adds 15 pounds, right?
Yeah, and but not only that, I'll even show you this picture. I should have done this beforehand, but realizing that you would fixate on my weight. But I have pictures of I stopped looking at myself at a certain point. I think a lot of people do that when you're fatter. You just don't even want to know anymore. And I think I got to such a heavy weight.
Send the picture. Can you email it right now? Just send it to my video guy. He can put it up. Anthony@roverradio.com.
Okay. Or I could just hold it up for the camera.
You could do that too. Yeah, sure.
This is, in the words of Charles Barkley, this is going to be terrible. Hide your children.
There he is at the. Is that your fattest?
Maybe. That's pretty. I look like a Russian power lifter playing ping pong.
He's really stuffed into that shirt. He's got some boobs there.
Yeah.
And I mean, look how big your face is. Well, I see photos of Dumb, our phone screener, back from a few years ago. He got up to almost 400 pounds.
Really?
Totally unrecognizable. Completely unrecognizable from today.
People don't. I mean, I get that. A lot of times people don't recognize me. Didn't recognize me in the first place because I'm usually on television and I have like a wig on and a fake nose. So it was like 50-50. People look at me and they weren't sure if I was me or if they went to high school with me or something like that. And now it's like, hey, you look like a skinny version of that guy who
on TV
does those voices. Yeah. Oh, thanks. You look like a smarter version of you.
1-866-YO-ROVER. Frank Caliendo is here. He is known for his impressions and his comedy. He will be at Hilarities on Sunday. The first show sold out. Second show still available. 8:15. I'll give you the number to call for tickets. The wife must love that you've lost this weight, doesn't she?
Yeah, she's lost a lot of weight too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there were pictures with me, her, and Louis Anderson, and you can't tell which one's Louis Anderson. There's the 3 of us. Hey, that's insulting. Yeah, he's a friend of ours who we're in Vegas with and stuff like that, just hanging out, eating a meatball or something like that. And there's some pictures, and what Michelle, who's my wife, who's originally from Lorraine, what she looked at some of the old pictures and she goes, I look like a tranny. I mean, I don't even know that's politically correct, hon. I don't know if you can say that. You can say whatever you want. I'll get in trouble. But,
so she's from Lorraine, which is where we're taking Rover
right?
To
Which,
this year.
by the way, okay. So I get into the car. My father-in-law picks us up at the airport. I get into the car, and my father-in-law, 60, 70 years old. First thing he says to me, Frankie. I'm like, yeah. He goes, Rover Fest sold out 13 seconds. Like, wait. How did that? Hello?
He's going. He's partying. He's going to pick up some babes.
Oh, jeez, that hurt. I could say one of the first things I was in Baltimore years ago, and my father-in-law. I don't think he was even my father-in-law yet. He was my father-in-law to be. Some girl wanted me to sign
her boobs?
Her
ass.
Her ass. I didn't know if of course I could say that.
Sure.
Her ass. I've been working on my Rover impression.
Okay. Yeah. Someone mentioned that you were working.
It's not great, but I have the cadence. I'm starting to get the cadence down a little bit.
Yeah.
Now Dieter says that he is one of those guys. But Doogie, this stuff is driving me nuts. So she wants me to sign her ass, and I'm like, I don't know, because first of all, I'd be for me and my public persona, I guess, would be just not to do that because I don't want somebody taking a picture of it or something like that.
Yeah, you're kind of known as like not a clean cut guy, but you're on TV and you have
network
kids
stuff.
and all that. Right,
exactly. I've got to wait till they're a little older to be myself. So
until they enter our calendar competition at Roverfest.
My daughter, I could see that happening. So please don't.
Just a few years away from that, probably.
Like 11 years.
Yeah.
11 years of freedom and then terror. So she wants me to sign her, and I'm like, my father-in-law's right here, and he's like, Frankie, you gotta do it. So I'm sitting there and
signing a chick's ass right there in front of your father-in-law.
I don't think I did, but he was cheering me on. He thought it was the greatest thing in the world.
How did you meet your wife? She
was in the front row. I'm at Hilarities this weekend, but she was in the front row of the Improv back in the day.
Okay.
And not laughing at anything I did.
Really?
And the other two comics were hitting on her. And I didn't know what to do. I was I'm just so awkward, but I liked her and stuff like that. But they were hitting on her, wanted her to go back. They had this hot tub there or something like that. And she was with her friend, and she was like not buying into any of that. And so I went and just kind of saved her from them. And then we ended up just hanging out. She came to see like 3 more shows that weekend. Brought her brother-in-law. Because she thought I could be a killer, because that's just the way she is.
Did she ever laugh at any of your acts?
Still doesn't find me funny. still finds me more annoying than funny. Well, that's the funny thing is I was going to say earlier too, because I don't think I said this, but who knows? We'll just relive it. But there's 2 things people will say to me on like Twitter and stuff like that. They'll be like, "You're fat and you suck." So I figured I could get rid of the fat, and now I just suck to people. But that's the way to go. But she I don't know. She didn't get most of the impressions and stuff like that because she wasn't a big TV watcher.
Yeah. Your impressions are more geared towards guys.
There's a lot of guy-centric stuff. Yeah. I'm trying to. I've always tried to make it a wider range, but it's just kind of what I like and what I find funny.
Yeah.
So the sports guys are the easiest to do stuff with because they're always breaking things down and analyzing things in sports. So if you take them outside of sports and put them in different situations, regular life-like situations, then it's funny. It's that fish out of water kind of thing. So it always works because they're describing stuff like with Jon Gruden. He's people say to me, because I've been doing this Jon Gruden impression, and it's a big one that's hit on ESPN, and people are like, he's the new John Madden. I'm like, no. Yeah, like I tell everybody, John Madden tells you things you already know. He says things like, "Hey, that guy's got mud in his jersey." You're sitting there going, "All right." Then he explains how to make. Then it would explain how to make mud. You got dirt over here and water over here. Boom, you're making mud. And now, with him out of the limelight and you don't see him as much anymore except for on a cover of a video game, there's Jon Gruden. People are like, he's the new John Madden. I'm like, no, Gruden is the opposite. He's more like Dennis Miller did Monday Night Football for a little bit.
For a second. Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
And had no idea what the hell he was ever talking
exactly.
about. Right?
Like, that's like Agnon Khashoggi waiting in line for the Matterhorn at Disneyland. And you're like, I don't know. I mean, I actually like his comedy a lot, but it didn't always translate on there. So Gruden will be like that, but he doesn't always know the references he's making. Like, he's kind of working through them. Like he's on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and he's used up all his lifelines. That kind of feeling. He's talking through. It's like, I'll tell you what, man. That play by Johnny Manziel right there, that play was magical, man. I wonder if he went to school to make a play like that. What's the name of that school? Harry Potter went to Hogwarts. I'll tell you what, I don't care if you're Minerva McGonagall, Albus Dumbledore, or Severus Snape. You're Harry Potter. You're pretty good at the game of Quidditch. I'll tell you right now, I've been around Dieter enough to know that he wishes he was in Gryffindor, man. I'll tell you what, you got the Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, and Ravenclaws. And I'll tell you what, Rover, you're a Slytherin guy, man.
Oh, okay.
I can feel it right there, man. Forget Voldemort. I'll say his name. Doesn't matter to me, man. He who shall not be named has just been named by this guy right here, man.
Now, someone told me, I haven't seen the clip, but it was you were interviewing Jon Gruden as Jon Gruden, and did he not get it or something?
Loved it. They invited me to do
okay.
it. So they call me and they're like, hey, John wants to do a Gruden camp with you. And then we went through a couple different ways we could do it, but it turned out I was in his normal chair and he was in the other chair, like the guy who's usually getting grilled.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'll tell you what, man, get up on that board. Show me an albacore 2-4-Y banana, just making up plays. And he's like, that play does not exist. I mean, it was so much fun because we're just sitting there just staring at each other.
Yeah.
And that was the best part. If I could have done 3 minutes of just me and Jon Gruden with an awkward stare.
Staring at each other.
I'll tell you what, man, staring contest. 1, 2, 3, go. But he's great. I mean, he and Barkley are guys that these guys are starting to get it now. It used to be that people didn't like me so much, but now, especially at ESPN, it's almost been like a feather in their cap.
Now they're upset if you're not.
People are like, when are you going to start
You're not
doing
big enough to do me.
Yeah.
I'm not big enough to do.
Yeah, I don't think it's kind of in that realm, but people want it to be done, so it's pretty cool.
I was watching the NBA Finals. What was it? The night before last, I guess, and you were talking about how they overanalyze. I said, I'm not a huge sports fan. I have to be honest. I sit and I watch this, and I go, these guys, if all of America's men collectively put our minds to something like curing cancer or whatever, it would take 5 days, but we spend so much time on sports and overanalyzing every little detail of something which essentially means nothing to anyone, anywhere. It's a tremendous time sucker, isn't it?
You're hurtful, Rover.
Yes, I'm very jaded.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think about how much time we do spend, but that's people, right? We divert our attention.
Are you
from
a huge
reality.
sports fan?
I grew up. I like what I would call the three major sports: basketball, baseball, football. But outside of that, I couldn't tell you anything about hockey. I don't know.
Do people come up to you and ask you stuff about
they want
Johnny
me to know,
Manziel?
Yeah, and I know little bits, but I'm not I can't get so in depth. I'm not. I watch these guys at ESPN, and the way they study stuff is just crazy. I mean, at Fox, they studied stuff. They would work, but it's more like a magazine. ESPN's more like a newspaper. Everybody's in cubicles. People are just going through stats constantly. And you go in there, and if you think you could be a sportscaster or a sports, personality, you go into ESPN, you're like, these people are like, it's like you're at Harvard. People are just studying nonstop. It's crazy. And I just realized I could never have done this. My brain doesn't work that way.
So you used to be over at Fox. You did the
I was there for about 9 years.
Yeah, and you would do your impressions and other things on Sundays.
Right. We ran out of stuff.
You
about
then
5 years in.
moved to ESPN.
Right.
What have you? How long have you been over there now?
This is my third year. I'm going to do one more.
Has it been that year? That long already?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I had no idea.
Well, I was been on for 2 full years, and then this will be the third year.
And you like it better over there?
There's positives.
Not really. You could tell. You could tell by that pause. He's like,
oh no. Actually, and I wouldn't lie. I would lie, but I'm not. It's the freedom at ESPN is like at Fox. By the end, I was just showing up because they didn't like what I wrote really, so I would just do what they wanted to do. At ESPN, they go, "What do you got?" And then it's from beginning to end, it's my process and what I want to do. So the bits that are at ESPN are really what I want to do all the time, as opposed to assignments more at Fox, which is part of my own fault because I didn't take charge and do stuff there. I really just kind of followed a lead. So at ESPN, but the stuff I do at ESPN is different. And when I try to do stuff, I have to find filler sometimes because you can't. There's only so much new stuff to do that I can come up with. So we did like a Dr. Phil thing last year and just try and fill in a couple other things. That stuff doesn't work the way it worked at Fox. That stuff would work at Fox. At ESPN, it really has to be more about making fun of things at ESPN or directly at football. Not jokes about football. Do a Bill Belichick, coach of the Patriots or something like that. That's the stuff that works there. And a lot of stuff that wouldn't necessarily have worked at Fox works at ESPN, doing these like a Jon Gruden, a Mel Kiper Jr. is the draft guy, talks like this, does incredible amount of research, so it's actually broadened me out to do a lot of new things, which is what I needed because I'd been so stale for a few years.
Do you ever work on something and throw the impression out? You go, I can't do it. I can't get it.
I don't throw anything out. I just use it badly. There's plenty of stuff that, you throw it out and try and bring it back and come back to it and see if you can work on it. I mean, I've been working on this Robert Downey Jr. just because he's such a megastar, and I can get it sometimes. Sometimes I can't. He talks ever since Iron Man. He talks like a Twitter feed. It's like short little sentences, and like when everything comes back to being about him. So when he like giving out an Academy Award, he'll be like, "These people deserve your applause almost as much as I do." Hashtag awesome. Great job by me. Thank you. It's like that, or trying to find the different people to do impressions, because it's like. It's weird. The Morgan Freeman has taken over in like my act and stuff like that. I think I've told you about this before. John Madden, you don't see him as much anymore. So I'll do it on stage because people want to see it.
Yeah, he's in every commercial and right.
I don't want to do it on TV anymore because it's been done. I've done it long enough. And somebody calls me and I go, "How much money you got?" Because I really don't want to do this. So what I would do in my act is explain the jokes as John Madden, and now what I do is narrate them as Morgan Freeman. So if somebody doesn't get a joke, I'm like, "That's when the audience realized that Frank Caliendo had no idea what he was talking about." From time to time, Frank would just wander around trying to figure out what he would talk about next.
How many impressions do you have in your arsenal,
I don't know,
Frank?
I don't know, because it's
let me put you on the spot. Let's play a quick game. Dieter versus Charlie. Let's do 5 impressions. You guys buzz in and be the first person that can identify who he's doing the impression of. All right?
Okay. So what do you want to
You
say?
versus
Say the
just
impression?
bust it out. Yes, first person. All right. Let's
Should I come up with some weird ones that might take a while?
Sure, you could. Yes.
All right. Here we go. Number 1. Very odd, very weird. Why would anyone ever do something like that? It's crazy.
Carson?
Carson.
I don't know.
Carson Daly?
Well, I saw that your eye was going like in. Is that the Columbo guy?
No, I know who this is. Keep going. I know. Tip my tongue. I know.
I could give you a clue.
This is Goldblum.
There it goes. There you go.
Oh, Jeff Goldblum.
Very good.
One up for Charlie.
Wait, how many guesses? You just get as many guesses
as many as you want.
Okay.
Sure. Yes.
And remember,
yes.
You beat Dieter, which means nothing. All right, so can it be somebody I've already done? Because I think I've ran out of impressions. Let's see. This one should be easy. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you
Christopher
want.
Walken. No, Liam Neeson.
Oh my God. Never come to a show, please. That was terrible.
Charles Barkley.
Oh, that one didn't count.
No, that was number 3. I got to give chances.
Wait, we're going back to number 2, so we'll give you number 3, tied 1-1. Go back to number 2.
Liam Neeson.
He
got it.
Liam Neeson. All right, 2-1. Who did you think it was? You thought it was
Christopher Walken.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it was close.
Sorry,
very close.
but I don't do Christopher Walken.
Christopher Walken. Okay, 3. Was that 1? Next they counted.
Yeah, because I was using your own theory against yourself.
Yeah, got it.
I think.
All right, one last one.
Yes. We've done it earlier.
Morgan Freeman.
Charlie got that. Boy,
Wow, he's good with them.
4-1. Charlie versus
Nice.
Dieter. How many? So you don't know how many you do? How many you have?
No,
in your
because then
arsenal?
you start counting people that nobody cares about anymore. What are you going to do? Count Walter Brennan? Ooh, the great Lou Gehrig. It's just,
I don't even know who Walter Brennan is.
You know who he is.
I do.
You've seen him. He was the old guy who was always old 30 years ago, 40. Whoa, there it is.
The old hillbilly guy?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's why you don't count him anymore, because if you did it in
or
your
Jimmy
act, no one...
Stewart or something like that. I mean, you count that, John Wayne. I had a guy come up to me the other day and goes, "How come you don't do John Wayne?" I go, "How come you haven't evolved?" What are you talking about? I mean, I did it nicer than that, but I was just like, geez, I mean, John Wayne, I don't think anybody's even mentioned him since you just mentioned him. That's just so weird. People don't even know Johnny Carson anymore, other than in who was it that was it you that said who you said Carson?
Charlie, yeah.
Kids don't know Johnny Carson.
No, they don't even know.
If you're 25, you don't know Johnny Carson.
Another year, they won't know Jay Leno anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that crazy. And
You say that you're going to do ESPN for one more year. But by the way, Frank Caliendo is here. He'll be at Hilarities just this Sunday. One show, 8:15. That's all they have left. I'll give you the number for tickets in a second. One more year at ESPN? That's what you said?
Yeah, I thought I was going to be done. I did at the Super Bowl this past year. I did probably one of the best things I'd ever done. And they came to me and said, "Do you want to do another year?" And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, it could get to the end of this year, and I might decide to do more. I think I've just done everything I could. Unless something wakes me up like it did at the end of this year. With the Super Bowl segment, I did 13 impressions based on those 30 for 30 things they do. It was a very serious, straight ahead kind of documentary where I'm just saying silly things, and it was one of the things I was most proud of. And I hear all these NFL teams watch it all the time, and it's pretty cool. So we'll see, but I just don't think there's going to be enough to do. I'm going to do. I would do freelance like here and there, but they always want to sign me to a bunch of them. Mm-hmm. So, and I always got to whittle them down and say, "Can we do maybe a little bit less?" I just don't think I can do a good job for.
Isn't that a big chunk of your income though?
No, very small.
It's not. Oh,
no.
It is.
Yeah.
Really? That's. I would have thought that would be a fairly sizable chunk of your. So most of your income is from doing things like this, the stand up stuff.
Yeah.
I'll bet you do an ass load of that corporate stuff.
The corporate stuff, and that's why.
And they pay a fortune.
That's why I don't sign asses.
Yeah, right.
Because that's where I do
like
the best.
Ford will come and they'll go. When you do something for Ford or whatever, what do they have you do? Like big meetings and things?
Yeah, like it's usually incentive rewards things. They have me or a band or something like that. Sometimes you host something. You go up a bunch of times and keep their meetings moving because they know everybody's going to fall asleep during the informational part.
Yeah.
So.
Do you have to actually do any prep work for that, or do you already have all that stuff down?
I've started doing more. I used to just do my act, and now I've started to just kind of work on other things involving the companies a little bit more. They love that. So,
are you ever able to rip on the companies?
Yeah,
for instance, like General Motors. If they hired you to do something, could you say something about like faulty ignition and things like that?
They probably say stay clear of that kind of stuff. They might let you make fun of certain things, but their big news stories they don't want to touch on.
Yeah.
They're a lot of times it's the people who are it's investors, it's people, the suppliers and stuff like that too. They just don't want to bring that kind of stuff up, which I understand. I mean, it's a business side. It's still that's the thing with the corporate world in there. It's a business first. You're trying to, and that's why a lot of people don't even want to do them. They don't care how much money gets thrown at them. They're basically. There's stipulations. They won't let you do this or that. I had a company one time said you can't do George Bush. You can't do that voice at all. I was like, why? It's not mean. It's just silly. And and I hit all sides. I hit everybody. I make fun of him. I'll go Clinton. I'll talk about Obama. I'll do all three. Those are the last three presidents. I think, and you want me to be up there for 45 minutes? You're taking,
So did you turn it down, or did you take their money and just not do George Bush?
I took the money, and I turned all the George Bush lines into Terry Bradshaw lines. And it was the same thing. Just did the same jokes, but with Terry Bradshaw. And then at the end, they're like, yeah, Bush worked. I'm like, no, I was doing Terry Bradshaw. Oh, you're a worse guesser than Dieter.
So one more year, and that's what we can expect you on ESPN.
Yeah, I think so.
Did you know? Do you know Tracy Morgan at all? Who was involved in that crash?
I've never met him. Only heard legend. I feel bad about that. Especially it wasn't no fault.
Don't you get nervous about that kind of stuff? Because sometimes our stations will send our closer stations like Rochester will send a limo to pick us up if they want us to come out there for the weekend. Always makes me nervous. I always drive my own car. I go, forget this. I don't want to. Who knows what the hell's going on with this? Do you ever get nervous doing stuff like that?
No, usually they send you somebody pretty good because it was the truck driver.
Yeah, the Walmart truck driver smashed into the back of this limo bus. Yeah.
Yeah, so it wasn't the limo driver's fault. Usually they're pretty good. I've had some bad ones.
Some mishaps.
Well, not so much. You're just wondering how they ever got a license.
Yeah.
You're just in the car and you're like, this guy, like Nick driving me over here from Hilarities. Holy cow!
Nightmare.
All of a sudden.
He's only about 120 years old. I mean, can he drive still?
Yeah, I've got questions. Is he in there? Is he talking? We get off. We're on the Jennings freeway or whatever you call that.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, he turns off to somebody I've never seen before, and he goes, oh, geez, what did I just do? I'm like, I don't know. What did you do? And then we're over by Steel Mills. I feel like it's an episode of The Sopranos where he's going to off me. I don't know what's going on. So
you know what I like about Frank Caliendo? Every time he comes in, he's more dressed up than the last time he was here, right? I mean, he
what
really.
Was the last time?
Well, I think it was just.
Suit?
I think it was sweatpants, shorts, but they're like sweat.
These are sweat shorts. But I like the way that the microphone casts a shadow that looks like I'm just sweating right down the middle, all the way to my crotch.
So all this weight that you lost, you just stop eating, or did you get a personal trainer, or what did you do?
We had a trainer. My wife started with a trainer. She started with the first trainer, and the first trainer was this guy who come over, younger guy.
Wasn't he hitting on your wife?
Yeah,
I think
I told you about it.
Yeah,
well, he wasn't hitting on my wife. He was hitting on like her friends, which made my wife upset that he wasn't hitting on her.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's throwing my kids in the air, and I'm like, this is not okay. So then we got this other guy who's from Latrobe. He was originally from Latrobe, Pennsylvania, and so he's kind of more our speed and stuff like that. And so he has a mobile gym, and he brings it in the trailer. And we just work out in front of our house.
And it works pretty well for you, basically.
Yeah, I mean, he comes over twice a week, and then I started running. I'd gotten down. I'm probably 30 pounds lighter than the last time I was here. So I'm 60 pounds down, I think, total.
So 60, you were at your peak. You were 60 pounds heavier.
Yeah, I was probably about 240.
Oh wow!
And I might have been fatter.
Have you noticed a big change in your health or how you feel?
Yeah, I don't sleep as much anymore. I used to sleep like all day. I'd just be tired.
Yeah.
And now, like after 6 hours, I just wake up. It's just it's crazy. It's a lot more energy. I'm actually eating like 3,000 calories a day at least right now.
Well, you're burning them all.
Yeah, it burns. So.
And your wife has lost a bunch of weight too.
Yeah, she
was never real big though. Was she?
She was heavy at one point.
Was she?
Yeah, she's like I said, the Louis Anderson thing. There's a picture of all three of us. You don't know who's who.
Louis Anderson's still alive, right? Who's the guy who's the guy that croaked? Jon Panette. Jon Panette. That's right. Yeah.
If you get in the computer room, if you will. Google Frank Caliendo's wife. You'll see there's some. She won't want you to see this. I just realized what a terrible idea that was.
We're not going to end up with any sort of God knows what.
We look like a chunky comedy team.
Let's see, Frank Caliendo's wife. Well, here's a photo of Frank himself there. You could see his face. That was, you were big back then. I mean,
yeah, I don't even think that was the biggest. I think that's.
Let's see, Frank Caliendo's wife, Michelle Caliendo.
Yeah.
Let's see, can I click on her? Let's see here. There she is. And when is this photo from?
That's probably 2007, 2008.
All right. And so, how does she look today compared to now?
Amazing.
She's lost a lot of weight.
She looks like when I married her.
Yeah. So you're happy. You're a happy.
Yeah,
guy.
she looks fantastic.
Sex life better now that you guys are,
I'll let you know when it happens.
All right. Frank Caliendo is going to be at Hilarities Sunday, 8:15. Just one show left.
Yeah.
The other show sold out almost instantaneously, faster than Roverfest.
I still can't believe I get in the car, and that's the first thing my father-in-law says
He's
to me.
He's excited for that.
Frankie, Roverfest. 11 minutes. Was it 11 minutes?
11 minutes, yes.
Did that break a record? Was it 13
61
before?
Minutes last year.
61?
Yeah. And the year before that, it was 8 hours. Next year, it will be 2 seconds.
Oh, I thought you guys...
You came out to Roverfest. When was it? Last year or the year before?
A couple of years ago. It was
he looked like a deer caught in headlights, I think. He didn't know what to expect.
I'm not good at judging the ladies.
I remember, yeah.
While my wife is just standing there.
Off the stage.
Yeah. Just glaring at me. Like, you didn't say this is what this was going to be. I didn't know. Then she started losing weight. Roverfest. You
motivated
saved my marriage.
her, yeah.
You saved my marriage, Rover.
I did see in the entries for the 2015 Miss Morning Glory calendar, I did see Michelle Caliendo was
you know what? A buddy of mine does a MILF contest back in Phoenix, a big radio show there.
Yeah.
And she wanted to get into it, and then she found out all the things they have to do. They're eating Jell-O out of other women's crevices and whatnot. And it's just,
Is that where you live during the winter? Is Phoenix? Is that where you stay? So Phoenix here and here during the summer, or are you?
We're
just,
here. We're
just
only here
for
because
now?
the kids are in school and stuff now. So we're only here a couple weeks this year because the soccer's starting back home and my daughter's in competitive cheer.
How the hell kids play soccer in Phoenix in the summer? It's got to be 100 and. Do they play indoors or?
There you go.
Okay, I was going to say because it's like 120 degrees in Phoenix.
Yeah,
they'd melt.
It'll be 115 out there at some point.
All right, let me give you the number for tickets to see Frank Caliendo at Hilarities. It's 216-241-7425. That's 216-241-7425. His website, frankcaliendo.com. And the show at Hilarities is this Sunday, 8:15. That's over there on East 4th Street.
And can I say, on Twitter, at Frank Caliendo. If you can't spell Caliendo, it's the letter C, the word alien, and the word do.
There you go.
At Frank C. Alien do.
Frank, I always enjoy having you in here.
Good to be here, man.
I do have to take a break. Go see Frank this weekend at Hilarities. Let me take a quick break. We'll be right back on Rover's Morning Glory. Hang on.
Rover's Morning Glory.